Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Wednesday, 8 October. I'm your host Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Putin has said that Russia has captured nearly 5,000 square kilometers in Ukraine this year. France's Macron is pressed to end the political mess in France. And British prosecutors say they did everything possible to bring Chinese spies to trial. So firstly, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said on Tuesday that Russian forces have captured almost 5,000 square kilometers of land in Ukraine in 2025, and that Moscow retained complete strategic initiative on the battlefield. Russia's 2025 gains would amount to nearly 1% of Ukraine's land area, and the country controls, as in Russia, controls nearly 20% of Ukraine in total. So what? I don't think this is the positive message that Putin thinks it is. It's pretty embarrassing. Russia for years was seen as the second best military in the world, only falling behind the US, and has just strategically failed in Ukraine at all levels, to be completely honest. This conflict, in reality, should have taken them a matter of weeks. If it wasn't for Western support and intelligence support to Russia, to Ukraine. But yeah, this is just showing the Russian military to be ineffective in the modern battlefield. While they are developing more modern tactics and theories, they still fall back to their core tactic of just using humans to overwhelm defenses with the cost of life being astronomical. So yeah, I think some estimates say if Russia continues to gain ground at its current pace, it would rule Ukraine in like the 2080s or 2070s. So I don't see this as the great statement that Putin may think it is, but that's just my opinion. I think the war in Ukraine has been an absolute shambles from the start for Putin, and that it will probably be the end of Russia as we know it. And next, France's President Emmanuel Macron has faced growing pressure on Tuesday to resign or hold snap parliamentary elections to end the political chaos that has forced the resignation of five prime ministers in 2 years. The 47-year-old centrist president has repeatedly said he will see out his second term, which is set to end in 2027. So what? I think we talked about this yesterday. France just had its shortest prime ministerial term in history, being a day, which is insane, to be completely honest. I don't understand how Emmanuel Macron still thinks he has any political capital to be in office and to be electing leaders. It's pretty clear that France needs to hold another election to have any hope of getting out of their current deadlock. However, as Macron knows, if they hold another election, the far-right National Rally Party is highly likely to win a significant portion, meaning that they will probably rule the country, which is not what he wants. I think Macron's goal is, his goal is likely to be put in a government that he likes, see out the next 2 years, try and improve their political situation, and hope that they can do better in the next elections than they currently would if they were held tomorrow. However, I don't see this happening. There's no current way they can form a government, and yeah, no one's supporting him. The entire country wants him gone. And I think the longer he stays in power, the less likely parties that support him are going to be to win. So, yeah, he's basically done. And France is in for a turbulent time. I think we're in the next few years in Europe are going to be pretty interesting in a political landscape. I think we'll see lots of right-wing parties winning by quite significant amounts. And lastly, British prosecutors said on Tuesday they did everything possible to bring to trial 2 men accused of spying for China to court, but it collapsed when the government declined to label Beijing an enemy. In an unexpected move, British prosecutors last month dropped charges of spying against 2 men just weeks before they were due to go on trial. The men, Christopher Cash, who was 30, a former director of the Chinese research group think tank, and Christopher Berry, who was arrested in March 2023 and in April the following year was charged with passing politically sensitive information to Chinese intelligence. They have denied all accusation against them. So what? I'm not surprised that the UK didn't want to label Beijing as an enemy. They currently, still need them for trade, despite geopolitical tensions. So yeah, I think that's probably the key to it, that Beijing just economically holds so much power that outright calling them an enemy would be detrimental to the UK economy, which is already on its last legs. However, publicly naming the 2 people who almost certainly spied for China is a pretty big move as well, because these 2 dudes, career-wise, unless they just continue to work for China, which is highly likely at this point, they're fucked. Like, no one's hiring those 2. Provided the companies do DD on who they're hiring, but it's definitely an up in the air situation. But yeah, pretty weak from the UK. I would have liked to see these guys go to trial. It also just sets a bad precedent for people caught for espionage for a foreign country. Like, you need to be hard on these people, because if you're not, this just encourages China to do more, because they know you're not going to charge their spies. It also gives them the assurance that they can tell their sources in the country, hey, look, they dropped those charges against those 2. So even if you do get caught, you're not going to do anything about it. Yeah, it's kind of the scary slope that I see here. That just provides more security for any people looking to work for the Chinese government and other foreign states, to be honest. However, I don't think the whole not being an enemy line will run for anyone accused of spying for Russia. But yeah, anyway, thank you. That's been the Intel Brief, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See you.